coffee break with me. Woo! Okay, I'm cheating. It's not coffee break. It's really 5:30 in the afternoon and I just got a very important delivery. Okay, before I start my video with my usual long crazy introduction and then my really quick swatches, bad swatches for that, but anyway, before I start, I want to share something with you guys and I want to know if you guys feel the same way. By the way, if my lighting's a little off, it's because it's a different time in the day. I don't normally film at this time, so bear with me. With the holidays around the corner, I don't know if I just didn't remember last year being this way, but I just feel so much pressure with how many holiday palettes are out. Now, I don't feel pressure to buy them or to review them for you guys. I just feel like there's too many options. Do you guys feel that way? I don't know. And so when I heard the Naked 3, Urban Decay's Naked 3 palette was coming out, I did not think that it was going to be released this early. I thought it was going to come out next year, like say January, after the holidays, after the craziness, after we spent all this money. I thought it was going to be like, surprise, start off the new year on a positive note with a brand new Naked palette. But they released it a week before Thanksgiving. To me, that's just like, I don't know. I thought it wasn't a good idea because the Vice 2 just came out and it just seems almost like, customer abuse because they know how bad we want these palettes and how bad we want to buy them at $50, $59, $52 a pop. That's at least $100 on just makeup, and makeup or eyeshadows are the product that we go through the least, you know, because you don't use that much of it. I don't know. So that's my little aggravation rant portion of this video. Moving on. Tater says hello. Moving on. So I know you guys have a ton of questions like, is it worth it? Is it different? Is it the same as the unzipped? Is it this? Is it that? I'm not going to give you guys a completely in-depth review like every other video on this channel. This is just my opinion. I do have a lot of makeup. I do like to stay on trend, and when holiday palettes come out, I look around and I buy the ones that I really like. I have way more makeup than necessary. This is honestly one purchase that I was not going to make. I had already made up my mind. I said I'm not going to do it. And of course, we're having like a long text message conversation. Puppy. We're having this like long text message conversation, you know, a couple of friends of mine, and they're in the YouTube community too. And we're having this conversation and one of them's like, yes, I'm for sure getting it. I'm totally gonna get it. The other one's like, well, I think I'm just gonna wait until it's in the store. And I was more like, I really don't have any interest in getting it, but when it comes out at Ulta or Sephora, I'll swatch it, and if I like it, then I'll get it. That was my stance. After a long talking and discussing it, this was the day it released. We all basically came to the conclusion that one, it's a really good deal if you were to divide the price per eyeshadow. And then we decided that as YouTube personalities, that it's almost like our obligation to give you guys, our wonderful subscribers, our opinion on the product so that you guys either save up for it, make the investment, or just avoid wasting your money altogether. So this is one of the longest intros, and I'm sorry if you're new to my channel and you're like, who is this girl that talks so much? But I want to be really frank with you guys. This wasn't a purchase that I was interested in making. Now that I have it in my hands and that I've swatched it, I knew this was not a purchase that I was interested in making. It is beautiful. The colors are amazing. Urban Decay never ceases to impress me with the quality of their shadows, but it doesn't have that it factor like the Vice 2 palette. It doesn't have that thing that makes you want the palette. So it just doesn't have that quality that says this is a staple in my collection. The Naked palette is my favorite. You guys know that. Two of my eyeshadows are like practically pan already. I love this palette. I use it all the time. It's a staple. This is a must in your collection. The Naked 2, I have used it twice, one to swatch and the other time because I was curious and I didn't like it. I have it because I keep it as reference or to compare it to other shadows, but I never use it. So in this instance, the Naked 1 and Naked 2 are palettes that you have that I would recommend based on your undertones. Some of the colors in here are more flattering on a certain skin tone. Some of the colors on here are more flattering on certain skin tones or even eye color. So you probably should have one or the other. This one is almost like a luxury palette. If you can afford it, or if you're a makeup junkie, or you think you need it because it's part of the Naked family, then you should get it. Do you need it in your life? Probably not. Welcome to my face. So the packaging is incredibly similar to the Naked 2. They're the same type of metal. I think it's aluminum. They both say Urban Decay on the spine of it, so you almost like you could stand it up at like a file or a book in a case, in a bookcase. They both have double-ended eyeshadow pencils. They look almost identical to me with the exception of the brush color. So here are the two brushes. They are the same length. The brush on this end is exactly the same. The brush on this side, you can see from the Naked 2, it's a long and thin one, almost for like blending, a fluffy blending brush. And then the one down here is a little bit more domey, shorter, and a little bit more dense. So the brushes are a little bit different. But the eyeshadows themselves in this palette are pretty. I mean, they're beautiful colors. These almost seem like an eyeshadow palette for those of you that are a makeup collector, as terrible as that sounds, because you shouldn't be a collector. But this is a palette that you would want in your collection if you are a collector or if you're a makeup junkie. I'm honestly not impressed, you guys. I'm going to show you some swatches, but I'm really not impressed. I did have a little bit of issues with some of the first shadows. I'll show you guys on my fingers. Hopefully you can tell. So I feel almost like this is the beta palette, you know, the beta, like the test drive palette, and maybe they'll make it a little bit better in the future, but they're a little crumbly. Does that make sense? Like they're a little crumbly, kind of chalky or dusty. The colors are pretty. They did give us the matte highlight color, which is always a must in a palette. So that's a plus. And that one is not chalky or dusty. It's very silky. But the one right after that, I don't know if you guys can tell, but even in the pan, it looks crusty. Like it looks chunky. And I'm not sure that's something you want out of a shadow, especially considering this is a $52 palette. And if you guys remember, the Naked 1, or I hate to say Naked 1, the Naked palette and the Naked 2 palette all come in clear cases with a small, either lip gloss or a small eyeshadow primer. This one comes in a cardboard box, and the little surprise that comes inside is a cardboard booklet that has 4 samples of their eye primers. So here are 2 primers, and then they come in these pouches. It's a pretty big amount. I mean, these would probably last you a really long time. I don't know how you would seal them so they don't dry out, but it does come with 4 eyeshadow primers, which, I'd rather get the little tiny primer potion. So, again, here is a close-up of the palette. I will show you guys some swatches at the end, and I always get stuff for doing this till the very end, but it's my style. So here are the shadows. I did feel like, you guys see this lighter shade right in the middle? I did feel like up to here, these shadows are so-so, and then from this darker color on, they get better. They're like the classic Urban Decay shadows we're used to. So this is awesome. So if you already have the Lorac Unzipped palette that looks like this, or the Balm's Nude Tude that looks like this, you could totally 100% do without the Naked 3. And let me show you guys what I'm talking about. They're all similar. They're all like rosy mauve-y colors. They all have the one matte or 1 or 2 mattes, and then the darker blackish brown whatever color. So they're all very similar. Obviously the shades are, I'm not going to say they're dupes, or I'm not going to say, oh, this color replaces this color, or it has 12 colors that look exactly the same, or I'm not going to do that to you. It's basically the general idea. If you already have a neutral palette with rosy undertones, do you really need another one? I don't see myself reaching for these palettes very often, and when I do, it's usually not for a complete look. Usually it's because I want to use one of them for a transition color or for a highlight or to deepen the crease, but I never reach for them thinking I'm going to create a full look just using that one palette. And I get the same feeling with this palette. I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen. So let me show you guys some swatches of these shadows. Okay, so here are some close-up swatches, and it'll be a little deceiving just because the lighting in the room, and I'm not using an eyeshadow primer underneath these shadows, but it'll give you a general idea of what to expect from these shadows. Like I told you, these are more shadows that you would use in combination with other shadows. So they would be good in the crease, they would be good on the lid, but not really for any complex makeup look. They would create really simple, everyday neutral kind of look, maybe using 2 shadows. Because once you move into 3 or 4 shadows in a look like with these, I really don't think that you would notice the difference. It is a little, I'm not sure if it's backwards for you guys, but the palette starts over here. This is the matte color I was telling you. But once you get to this color, these shadows are a little bit better. But from here back, they're really powdery. You don't get a lot of pigmentation from them, but they are still pretty shadows. I mean, they're Urban Decay shadows. They are good quality. They're better than most drugstore eyeshadows, but again, this is a $52 palette. So I expect these eyeshadows to, you know, be some miraculous, like, illness cure. Like, that's what I expect from these shadows, just because it's a $52 palette and I'm paying $52 for something neutral. So these shadows over here, they're not that great. I think, what's the name of this shadow? This shadow right here is absolutely 100% my favorite. Okay, so here we go. This is better so you guys can get a general idea. My favorite color in the entire palette is called Nooner, and it's like a matte, it's a super silky matte creamy mauve color. So that would be really pretty for a really nice dusty rose eye look. But you guys also keep in mind that pink eyeshadows or pink undertone eyeshadows can make certain people look tired. So that might be another reason why you don't want to get this palette. Another reason why you might want to get this palette is because pinky rosy undertones look beautiful on your skin tone. So keep all those factors in mind when you're deciding whether or not to get the Naked 3 palette. Those are the swatches. What do you guys think? I mean, they're beautiful colors and it's Urban Decay. You know, you want to just love Urban Decay. I'm just not excited about it. You know, that oomph or that excitement that I had with the Vice 2, I don't have it with this one. This is just like another neutral palette. And how many neutral palettes do we really need? I know rose gold is all the craze right now, so that is pretty cool, but I never thought in a million years that there would be a Naked 3 palette. And if they did come out with one, I never thought that it would be around rosy neutrals. So I kind of feel like this video is not very exciting because I'm not as excited as everyone else when they realized that the Naked 3 was coming out, and I just kind of feel a little crummy because I don't have, you know, this video isn't as exciting as my Vice 2 that I'm gonna link down below. But it's the truth, you know, and I wanna be honest with you guys. I know around Christmas time, you want to buy all these palettes that are coming out, but it can add up, and I don't want you guys to feel that pressure that I feel like, oh, you know, there's a new palette, I wanna love it, I'm gonna find it, I'm gonna, you know, use it and whatever, it's the new thing. This is not something that I was excited about, but if you are someone that really enjoys neutrals, that's kind of like your go-to look, you could probably get a lot of use out of this palette. But it's not, there's not so much a really wide color range where I would see myself, like I wouldn't take this traveling. Does that make sense? It can't give me that many different looks. So I don't know. I mean, it's beautiful. It's pretty. I'm so fortunate to have it, you know, now. I'm so excited that I have it you know, so soon and that I get to play with it. And let me know, you guys, if you want to see any tutorials with it or whatever. But don't feel like you need to run out and get it or make the investment, or don't feel sad because it's sold out in like a couple hours or whatever. No, it's not a big deal. It's gonna be available forever, and you watch, mark my words, this is not going to ever reach the point of like the Naked palette or the Naked 2 palette. It's never gonna get there. I don't think so, because I think that once you guys see it at like your Ultas or your Sephoras, and all three of them, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be lined up on display to test, you're gonna be like, really? Do I really want that? And sometimes it feels good to like venture out into other brands like Lorac or the Balm. Sometimes it's good to have something a little different to mix it up, especially considering that the formula on some of these isn't what I'm used to from Urban Decay. So that's another point. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this quickie, well, not quickie, nothing from me is quickie. I hope you guys enjoyed this review on the Urban Decay Naked 3. Let me know down below if you have any questions or if you're interested in seeing a tutorial or whatever. And I think that's it, guys. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, this coffee break is over. Bye, guys.